Stop the abuse now. Stop the abuse now. Stephen Millet.
There are many forms of abuse. There's physical abuse, mental abuse, and emotional abuse. And if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, you know the worst kind of abuse is when you get abused and you haven't done anything wrong. Contest master, fellow Toastmasters, fellow contestants, and guests. I'm going to take you back in time to 1976. A little country town called Murfreesboro, North Carolina. I just moved there with my mom and baby sister. We were living with my grandparents, Fred and Earlene. I love my grandparents. Have you ever had a day when it seemed like all the stars just lined up for you? Everything just went right. Everything went according to schedule, and even better than anticipated. I had such a day. The sun was shining. It was in the fall of the year. We had a parade. I was 15 years old. I played in the high school marching band. And I loved playing the drums. Oh my God, the drums was my passion. And to this day, still is. We played in a parade at a neighboring town. And for some reason, all of our steps were in sync. Our moves were smooth. And we hit every note. We sound amazing. And the crowd appreciated it. They rushed us and they cheered us. They hugged and kissed us. I even signed my first autograph that day. It was amazing. So we boarded the bus and went all the way back to the school. And all the other kids went in and called their parents. So we're unloading the instruments and equipment off the bus. I was the last one to go in to call. All the other parents had picked up their kids. And I was standing there with no one but the band teacher. And he had something else to do. So he turned to me and said, Stephen, would you mind if I left? No problem, Mr. Casey, my mom's on the way. Now you gotta understand, the school set way back up on the hill. So I decided to walk all the way down to the road, to the entrance of the driveway. And as I stood there at the end of the road, waiting, a friend of mine that I go to school with, she pulled up and offered me a ride home. And as I bent down in the window, I told her, I said, no, thank you. My mom is on the way. As a matter of fact, here she comes now. And as I stood up, my mom saw me. Now I must tell you a little about my mom. She had severe mental illness. And in those days, they just called it a nervous breakdown. The clinical definition was schizoaffective. She was paranoid schizophrenic and bipolar at the same time. Not a good combination to grow up with. As I got into the car and sat down, she immediately began to yell at me. Boy, where was you? You wasn't at no parade. You was shacking up with that girl all day. I said, Mom, I promise you, I was at the parade. It was amazing. We had a great time. No, you weren't. Stop lying to me. And we argued all the way home. As we approached the house, she said, boy, you're getting a beating for lying to me. I'm tired of you lying to me. You have to understand, my mother's way of beating you, she wasn't going to beat the clothes she bought. You had to take your shirt off. Lie down across the bed. And she would use any instrument she could get her hand on. Whether it was an extension cord, a piece of wood like a 2x4, or a long leather strap. As I lay there across the bed, she would wind up and swing with all of her might. Crack! Oh my God, this is horrible. The pain is excruciating. And then she would yell back, you better be quiet or you're gonna get more. Have you ever been made to suffer in silence? That's emotional abuse. she would wind back up and swing with all of her might. Crack! I would grimace and try to hold it in as the blood trickled down my back. She wasn't finished. She'd wind back up with all her might. Bow! And I would yell out. And all of a sudden, Grandma Early bust in the door, tackled her to the ground. That was the day I no longer accepted physical abuse. I stood up for myself. And if you're being abused, stand up for yourself. Find you a Grandma Earlene that'll come in and rescue you. But this kind of abuse is not the worst. The worst abuse is when you do it to yourself. How many times have you told yourself, I'm not good enough? How many times have you told yourself, I'm not worthy of love? How many times have you told yourself, I'm a nobody? Stand up for yourself. Separate yourself from the abuser and begin to tell yourself a different story. A story that says, I'm worthy of love. A story that says, I'm capable. And I am a good person. Stop the abuse now.